All right. Good morning, students. Let's start. But before that, let's have the information of the lecture. Class 9th, we are reading the book Behive and the lesson number 2. We are at the lesson number 2. One is over. And what is lesson number 2? The sound of music. See, students, the sound of music we are going to read now. And the writer of this is Deborah Colley, the name of the writer, the name of the author of this text we are reading. This is part number 1, students. Because, see, every one of you, this chapter is divided in 2 parts, part 1 and part 2. This refers to the things like that we're having 2 stories to read about the sound of music. Ultimately, what we get, the 2 stories will listen, and that's divided in 2 parts. So see, students, this lecture number 1, we have started now. Let's read something about the author. Deborah Colley is an Ottawa-based writer. Ottawa is the name of the place, like country, where from where he belongs. And broadcaster. Broadcaster means like who broadcasts the news or like any sort of anchoring at the radios or TVs, right? She has traveled the world while writing more than 100 articles for different editions of the Reader's Digest. Reader's Digest means which is liked by the readers. So many different types of editions or the articles have been written by the author, and maximum are motivational and inspirational. And what we get here, that the maximum articles or the different editions have been written by the author are motivational as well as inspirational, right? Many of which have been translated into dozens of languages. Dozens of languages refers to like, we do have so many languages in the world. So the dozens of languages refers to the most important languages of the world, like English, French, Canada, like this 12 means dozens of languages. And this is one of them. And this we are going to read is one of them. Today, the sound of music we are going to read, students. This is one of them, which we are going to read in English language as well as motivational. So what we find, 2 things we get here. This we are going to read, that is in English, and this is motivational also. So rest you can see, students, you can pause the video and read the information about the author. Let's go to next. I hope that every one of you can stretch the screen. If you just go ahead and you can just read the things properly. So the chapter is the sound of music. You all can stretch the screen to read it properly, which will help you people to understand. As I can just check it out on my screen, that's quite visible, students. The sound of music, chapter 1, and that's part 1. Lesson 2, part 1 we are reading. What shall we read here, students? That's going to be very important. Evelyn Glennie listens to sound without hearing it. Well, that's a very interesting title of the part 1, students. This is letting us know. Students, just hold for a minute. Let's just continue. So we were talking about the title of the part 1. That's Evelyn Glennie listens to sound without hearing it. Can we just imagine, students, that we hear the sound, we listen the sound without hearing it? That means there is a disability in our body, that's the listening or hearing disability. Even though there is a person, that Evelyn Glennie, listens to sounds without hearing it. She cannot hear it, even though she listens. Let's just find out in the text. This will help us to understand in a very proper way. So, see, students, before you read a little bit here, before we start the reading, something very extraordinary is given. We just need to find out what's it. God may have taken her hearing, but has given her back something extraordinary. Now, what we get here, God may have taken her hearing. God may have taken her hearing means like the author is talking about God has taken her hearing. She is unable to just hear something or listen something. Hear and listen, students, there is a difference. First, you need to understand why it is because the author has put it at the initial. Why it is because when you see the title, it is just mentioned in the title. Let's have a reading once again of the title, students. And this is Evelyn Glennie listens to sounds without hearing it. Two words have been used for one particular thing, and that is to listen or to hear. So, listen and hear. Hear means like when something comes to us, like we have to, something comes to us without paying that much attention. We hear it like without having any sort of problem. But you see, there is a listening. Listening refers to paying attention. The one has to pay attention to listen something. So the comparison we get here in the hearing and listening students, this is very important to be aware of sounds with your ears. This refers to like you hear like spontaneously just while just having interactions like, but for listening you have to pay attention. Listen means like you are just supposed to pay much attention to listen. You are paying attention to listen to someone, or you can hear him or her. That is the difference. That's why these two words have been used here, listen and hear. So see students, you just need to be a bit familiar about this all. So before you read, we are doing this. In this, what we get here, God may have taken her hearing, but he has given her back something extraordinary. Now, what we understand here that God has taken her hearing. God has taken her sense of hearing or made her disabled to just hear something. But apart from this, God has given her very extraordinary power, very extraordinary skill. Right? What we hear. See, students, that's very important here. What we hear, she feels. And now you just need to see this is one of the senses, right? How do we sense this? This is one of the senses, students. So what we get here, one of the senses, like seven senses we have. So this is one of them. If she cannot hear, she feels that far more deeply. How deep we feel, students? She feels much deeply than us, right, everyone? I hope that you can understand this. This is so what we get here that she can feel better than us. She can feel more deeply than us, right, everyone? That is why she expresses music so beautifully. That is the ultimate reason, students, that she can express her music skills very beautifully, more beautifully than any other artist or musician. Read the following account of a person who fought against a physical disability and made her life a success story. So here what we get, students, the story we are going to read about a person who fought against a physical disability. उनकी लाइफ में जो है एक फिजिकल डिसेबिलिटी हो गई थी of the listening, right? The one was not able to hear properly, even though she put her extraordinary efforts to get succeed in her life. So let's just start the text, students. Rush hour, crowds jostle. Jostle refers like to push roughly for position on the underground train platform. You all must have visited to the railway stations of metros, students, and there are so many people basically. Here the author is talking about the very rush hour in the small time when the people are going to their home offices or like to their schools, colleges. So there is too much rush at the train platform, and that is underground. Jostle means they are pushing roughly to one another, and they want to get in the train basically before anyone else. That's why there is a jostle in the train on the platform basically. A slight girl looking, slight girl. I hope that everything is visible to you all. Okay. A slight girl looking younger than her 17 years. A small girl or a thin, right, small and thin girl was nervous. She was in a bit trouble or a problem. She was thinking what to do, what not to do, where to go. Younger than 17 years. And she was a bit younger. That means small or younger than 17 years. 17 साल से भी छोटी थी वो. Was nervous. काफी डरी हुई थी, सहमी हुई थी, लेकिन थोड़ी excited थी as she felt the vibrations of the approaching train. The train was approaching towards her, and its vibrations she could feel. She was able to feel the vibrations of, even see, all the people can feel, but she could feel more deeply than anyone else. It was her first day at the prestigious Royal Academy of Music in London, and daunting enough for any teenager fresh from a Scottish farm. Daunting means like frightening. डरी हुई थी वो, सहमी हुई थी वो थोड़ी सी. उसका जो ना फर्स्ट डे था, इट वाज हर फर्स्ट डे एट द प्रेस्टिजियस रॉयल एकेडमी. First day it was of her, and this is the academy in the London, and she was frightened. डरी हुई थी काफी वो. Daunting enough means काफी डरी हुई थी. For any teenager, कि कोई भी teenager जो है fresh जिसको हम लोग बोलते हैं, जो कि स्कॉटिश से आई थी वो लड़की, this was quite frightened. But the aspiring musician faced a bigger challenge than most. But if you talk aspiring musician means a person who wants to be a musician. The one who wants to become a musician is called like aspiring musician who faced bigger challenge than most. जितने चैलेंज अभी तक किसी और ने फेस किए होंगे, इसने उनसे कई गुना ज़्यादा चैलेंजेस अपनी लाइफ के अंदर फेस किए हैं स्टूडेंट्स. She was profoundly deep. Profoundly refers to completely. वो completely पूरी तरह से, profoundly refers like completely पूरी तरह से, जिसको हम बोलते हैं deep. वो बही थी बिल्कुल एकदम से. Evelyn Glennie's loss of hearing had been gradual. Gradual refers like slowly. Evelyn Glennie's loss, like how did she lose her hearing sense? This was a bit gradual, students, gradually. Her mother remembers noticing something was wrong when the 8-year-old Evelyn was waiting to play the piano. They called her name and she didn't move. There is an incident, you can just see students. Her mother remembers, याद करती है उस दिन को. She noticed it basically when she went to play the piano, and she was 8 years old. And there what happened, the people there, they called her name and she did not move. That means like she did not listen. There it was the first attempt when her mother says that I suddenly realized she hadn't heard. Mother is saying this, that this Evelyn did not hear it. That's why she's unable to just respond. Says Isabel Glennie. See, Isabel Glennie is the name of the mother of Evelyn students. You just need to underline this and memorize this for the future reference. This question can be asked to any one of you. For quite a while, Evelyn managed to conceal her growing deafness. Now, initially, when Evelyn came to know, she tried to just conceal. Conceal means to hide students. She tried to hide this growing deafness from the friends and teachers, like the friends had in her circle and the teachers basically. Initially, she tried to hide it, that it's a little bit and she can manage this, the hearing problem basically. She was unable to listen the things. But by the time she was 11, her marks had deteriorated. But when she was 11 years old, students, and her marks had deteriorated. Deteriorated means to become worst. She could not perform well in her exams, and her headmistress urged her parents to take her to. Now you see, her headmistress means the principal, you can say, there requested her parents to take her to a specialist, कि भाई वो जो है उसको एक किसी स्पेशलिस्ट के पास लेकर के चले जाएं. It was then discovered that her hearing was severely impaired. Severely impaired means like weakened. Weakened refers like कमजोर हो गई है धीरे धीरे बड़ी तेजी से, as a result of gradual nerve damage, and slowly her nerve system of hearing sense damaged basically. Gradual means like slowly. They were advised that she should be fitted with hearing aids. They were advised, they were given advice by the doctors that she should be given hearing aids. Hearing aids means students, some sort of devices are there which help the people. Suppose there is a hearing problem with the one, some sort of headphones or machine is provided, and with the help of that, they can listen the things or the people quite easily. This was advised by the doctors. She should be fitted with hearing aids. And uh, and sent to a school for deaf. And there was students, one thing like there was one thing like she should be sent to the school of deaf people, like the school of deaf people, where the deaf children study or like understand the language. uh, she should be sent. Everything suddenly looked black, says Evelyn. And at this advice of the doctor, Evelyn says that everything looked black. चारों तरफ उसको अंधेरा दिखाई देने लगा. It was all over black. Wherever she looked or whatever she thought, it was not that much proper to her. But Evelyn was not going to give up. But Evelyn had decided that she would never give up the things. She would give up means वो किसको नहीं छोड़ेगी. She was determined. Determined means like she made her determination, दृढ़ निश्चय, to lead a normal life and pursue her interest in music. She decided that she wants to live life normally, like the normal people live. And she wanted to pursue means to get education or study the interest in music. She wanted to have, had interest in music, and she wanted to keep it continue in future. One day, she noticed a girl playing a xylophone and decided that she wanted to play it too. Xylophone, you can see the picture, students, and the side of the text. A musical instrument with a row of wooden bars of different lengths. Wooden bars of different lengths. One day she saw a girl and she was playing xylophone, and after just looking at her, watching at her, she decided that she also wanted to play the xylophone. Most of the teachers discouraged her, but percussionist Ron Forbes supported her potential. So here what we understand, students, maximum number of teachers wherever she went to learn this xylophone, they discouraged her that she wouldn't be able to listen, she wouldn't be able to play it. How would they give the direction? But in spite of this, there was a person who was percussionist, a person who plays the drum, the tabla, etc., in a very professional way. The name is Ron Forbes. Ron Forbes supported her potential. He began by turning two large drums, two different notes. He supported her and he started by tuning two large drums. He made he got two large drums in different notes basically, in one different note and in the another one is different note. Don't listen through your ears, he would say. Ron Forbes said her that don't try to listen through your ears. He said this to Evelyn, try to sense it some other way. Now you can understand, students, we do have some other senses, and that was what he wanted to say, that was to feel the sound. Says Evelyn. Evelyn batati hai, Evelyn कहती है. Suddenly I realized I could feel the higher drum from the waist up and the lower one from the waist down. And Evelyn says, as he guided, as he sat, I realized I could feel. Evelyn बताती है कि भाई मैं जो है ड्रम को फ्रॉम द हायर फ्रॉम द वेस्ट वेस्ट के हम ऊपर से और वेस्ट के लोअर पार्ट से शी कुड फील द drums. Forbes repeated the exercise, and soon Evelyn discovered that she could sense certain notes in different parts of her body. Now you see what we understand here. Ron Forbes repeated her the exercises again and again and again, and soon what happened? Soon means जल्दी क्या हुआ? Evelyn discovered उसने खोज लिया that she could sense certain notes like which notes were provided by Ron Forbes. She could feel them. She discovered it and she could feel that in different parts of her body. Different parts of her body means through the complete body she could feel the notes, but some notes from the different part of the body and some from the different parts of the body. I had learned to open my mind, and that time Evelyn is saying she could open her mind to learn the things. And body to sounds, and she opened her body to mounts means she dedicated herself towards the sound, to the sound and vibrations. The rest was sheer determination, and determination refers to like दृढ़ निश्चय जिसको हम कहते हैं students, and hard work. So students, this refers to like the determination as well as the hard work. So Evelyn is saying she dedicated herself to the music completely. She started feeling it far more very deeply than anyone else, and she was able to feel the sound, the music, the vibrations, and the rest. And to see at this, Evelyn is saying, now what was left? Only the determination, which was lacking a little bit, which she was able to just manage, and the hard work. The hard work would make her perfect in the work, like students. So this was there. So, students, we have completed four paragraphs, and there are certainly, I feel, 10. So, what will we do? We will just try to complete this tomorrow, students. That's enough for today's lecture. If any one of you wants to ask any question related to this, you can raise your hands. I'm going to end the meeting. Thank you very much for joining this class.